35 years of my life. Okay. Our journey begins with this mug.
There's the microphone.
Whoa!
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency seeing a little bit of red today. Ethereum still sitting below the $600 level. Bitcoin below 19,000 today. You can see we were trying to push up again at that weekly resistance, which we did close above briefly, but now we find ourselves again below 19,000. Now, in yesterday's video, we were discussing the possibility, two possibilities of Bitcoin. We were either in an asymmetrical triangle or a descending triangle, and it does look like we did in fact fall out of the asymmetrical triangle. So if I remove this right now, it looks like this pattern has been confirmed. Now, descending triangles are generally bearish. So the question is Bitcoin actually topping out now? And should we expect a big fall for the Bitcoin price? Well, I do want to discuss why there is a lot of potential selling pressure, and investors in Bitcoin are a little bit worried about something that is happening on December 15th. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we will talk about that in today's video, but it could potentially release tons of Bitcoin into the market. And yeah, some people are thinking this could be a negative impact for the price. Now, I will talk about that because in the same hand, we have Microstrategy raising $400 million, which they're looking to invest all of it into Bitcoin. So is Microstrategy the new Tether? Well, could be possibly, but I also want to discuss that as well as the Biden administration and why some people think this could be incredibly bullish for Bitcoin and what they might be looking to do as far as crypto regulations are concerned. And if that sounds good to you, though, those are the main topics of today's video. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Definitely drop a comment if you're interested in winning a Ledger Nano S. Get subscribed, join the Telegram group. You guys know what to do. Without further ado, let's dive in. So obviously, having a look right here, it does appear that we are in a bit of a descending triangle now. There is the potential chance we can come up, but we want to try to break out of this resistance. If this resistance continues to push us down and down and down, then we are going to look for a potential drop. Now, keep in mind, one of the probably most infamous descending triangles ever in Bitcoin's history was what we had right here when we started falling from the all-time high. And actually, if you have a look at what we sort of did during the high of last year, we did something very similar too, where we had peaked out and also put in a bit of a descending triangle as well, where we did have this drop, right? But as I said, the most infamous one is most certainly the end of the bear market, where we then fell another 50% after bouncing off the bottom multiple times. And, you know, a lot of people were saying, well, that is the bottom. It has to be the bottom. Look at how many times Bitcoin has been supported there, and then we fell. Now, it was an excellent opportunity for accumulation. So having a look right here, you know, is that what we're looking to do? Well, in all honesty, we have to see what plays out. We could just potentially be falling back down to this legacy trend line on the CME. Could we close the futures? Yes. We've had multiple touches here. We rode along it here, right here. We came down during the massive drop here. So we are only a couple $100 away from reaching that level. So around 18,400, that could potentially be the bottom of the short-term trend. However, if we do in fact close and fall even lower out of this descending triangle, then we may look to retest some of our previous levels. Now, we do have two levels, one around 18,200, one around 17,200, which is an extremely critical level. However, I also want to point out there are two levels where we had this trend right here and also where we tried to break out multiple days right here. And those actually intersect right here at around the $15,800 mark. So could we potentially see Bitcoin come down here, bounce around, and then right here, you know, that could be the potential buying opportunity. That could be the ultimate dip that everyone is looking for. But as I said, going back to these previous levels, if we are able to break out of this descending trend and break out above it, then I do think that Bitcoin would continue its trend. However, unfortunately, right now, based on the charts, it is looking like Bitcoin wants to move lower. So Love to wake up tomorrow and have a $20,000 Bitcoin, but right now, having a look at what's happening in the charts, it does look like, we are potentially looking for sort of this drop, unless we can break above this level. If we can't, then I do think we're going to have something very similar to what we've had in the past. But guys, listen, there is evidence that some investors are liquidating their Bitcoin holdings, right? The balance held in accumulation addresses has declined by over 4% in the past 3 weeks. Now, listen, this isn't necessarily bearish. It's just some people aren't really in Bitcoin for the long run. They don't care about the price, next year. They just wanted it for a quick flip, right? Even Patrick Huser, he's a senior crypto trader at Crypto Broker AG, he says we are leaning bearish here and beginning to unwind some long exposure in Bitcoin and DeFi selections. The reasoning is on some technicals and how the spot market is structured with large orders at around the lifetime high. However, we do have investors extremely worried about the Mt. Gox rehabilitation plan deadline, which is set for December 5th. They say it could be a Bitcoin bearish signal as a supplying 150,000 Bitcoin could be basically dumped all over the market. So if 150,000 Bitcoin was to get instantly dumped on the market, that would be a lot of Bitcoin, right? That would be a lot more than even Microstrategy is holding, even with their latest potential acquisition. So that is what some are worried about. Now, keep in mind, this deadline has been pushed back time and time again. This isn't the first time that we've had this news. However, at some point, eventually, they are going to release these coins, and some are worried that it could be happening on December 15th. Now, you do have to ask yourself the question, are they really going to dump? These investors that have potentially been buying Bitcoin, or had bought Bitcoin, in the hundreds of dollars, they're in extreme profit right now. Are they actually going to buy and walk away? Or do you think that the people that were potentially buying Bitcoin back then are probably really in it for the long haul, and maybe they won't? Or there might be the potential, of just shaving a little bit off the top. But before you guys freak out and worry, don't even start to sweat yet, because Microstrategy has come back and saved the day, right? The world's largest publicly traded business intelligence firm, Microstrategy, has announced plans to invest the proceeds from a $400 million securities offering into Bitcoin. They revealed plans to issue $400 million in convertible senior notes. Microstrategy says they intend to invest the net proceeds from the sale of the notes into Bitcoin. So, at current prices, $400 million would increase the company's holdings by 20,833 Bitcoin, which would bring them to around 62,000 Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, Mt. Gox is looking to potentially release 150,000 Bitcoin. So still a lot more than Microstrategy, but this is very insane. The announcement states that Microstrategy may also offer up to an additional 60 million worth of notes to its initial purchasers within 13 days of commencing the offering. So my goodness, these guys, they got no chill. They have no chill over at Microstrategy. Every chance they get, they are just buying and buying and buying. And they are buying at these levels right now, or potentially considering buying at these levels if this goes through right now. So these guys are putting their money where their mouth is. And, if these guys want to sell their Bitcoin, then they can continue doing that, because guys like Michael Saylor and these other institutions, they're just going to keep buying it up, and it is going to get transferred from the weak hands to the strong hands. So, even if we do have the Mt. Gox sell-off, maybe that's a good thing for the market, right? Because those who are not interested in the long-term price appreciation, they can sell for their short-term gains and move it into the stronger hands. Now, according to Paolo Ordono, probably said his name wrong, but he's the CTO at Bitfinex. He recently said that he thinks that the extremely apparent Bitcoin bull case will force asset managers to allocate time and capital to the space. He says no amount of cynicism, disbelief, or even fantastical thinking can obscure the compelling case for Bitcoin. Global asset managers will continue to recalibrate their portfolios accordingly. And, don't forget what we had with Paul Tudor Jones. He was probably one of the first guys to really sort of lead, I would say, everyone else to this Bitcoin space. He put 2% of his portfolio into Bitcoin, and he said, truth in advertising, I'm not a hard money nor a crypto nut. I'm not a millennial investing in cryptocurrency, which is very popular in that generation, but a baby boomer who wants to capture the opportunity set while protecting my capital in ever-changing environments. One way to do that is to make sure I am invested in the instrument that responds first to the massive increase in global money, and given that Bitcoin has positive returns over the most recent time frames, a deeper dive into Bitcoin was warranted. Now, like my buddy Bit Harrington said, now this is I want to show you guys, yes, we could have the dip, but if Bitcoin follows the previous halving 2017 pattern, this is the 2021 Bitcoin chart. And you can see right here, moving into around October, November, December of next year, you're looking at Bitcoin potentially hitting 300,000 to 350,000, then looking for a potential pullback to, oh my goodness, $100,000. That means Bitcoin would go to $300,000. It would have a 66% correction down to 100,000, and then everyone would come out with their pitchforks calling Bitcoin a scam again. Once again, we started this year off at 7,200. Just got to remind you guys where we've been. I know everybody wants the moon today, but I'd say we're mooning quite well. I mean, we're up over 150% for the Bitcoin price. I will certainly take that. And talking about the Biden administration, you did have Jeremy Allaire over at Circle, and he was over on Squawk Box, and they asked him his opinions about what they think would happen with the Biden becoming president. Would it be good or bad for Bitcoin? And check out what he actually had to say in response.
The Biden administration, do you believe that they are going to be positively predisposed to cryptocurrency and making it broader, or going to more tightly regulate it? Just straight up and down.
I think that they will ultimately be supportive because this is an infrastructure change as big as the initial commercial internet, and they're going to be focused on infrastructure changes that make America more competitive. And this is absolutely going to be a core building block in that.
Wow. So a core building block of that. Now, I'm assuming he's talking about blockchain, but probably also, considering he's from Circle, Bitcoin as well. So could it possibly be the one good thing that could come out of all of this? We know that Trump was not a fan of cryptocurrencies. He made that very clear. And without getting political about, the election and potential voting fraud and all that other stuff, just talking about the simplicity of the fact that maybe this could be good for Bitcoin, we will have to see, obviously, how things play out. But we did see 2 days ago that America is not looking to ban Bitcoin. We did get that confirmation from the U.S. comptroller, right? Now, getting back to our buddies Grayscale, who is also accumulating massive amounts of Bitcoin, they did, in fact, have a recent survey. Now, keep in mind, they're up to about 500,000 Bitcoin secured in their GBTC fund, but they did ask whether the pandemic made Bitcoin investment products more or less appealing to their investors, and 3 times as many of these investors indicated that, yes, the pandemic has increased Bitcoin's appeal, as those reporting that the pandemic had diminished interest in it. So, among respondents, investors who classified Bitcoin as a safe haven asset revolved around the ages of 35 to 44. Interesting, right? That's apparently the average age of a Grayscale Bitcoin investor, I guess. 62% of U.S. respondents now assert that they are very familiar with Bitcoin. This number is up from 52% around this time last year. Motivating factors that have driven Bitcoin interest forward include the potential growth of the cryptocurrency in the near future, the ability to invest a small amount into Bitcoin. Keep in mind, you can buy sats, and obviously, Bitcoin's probably basically the fact that it's going to increase. Okay, a lot of people really do see this as an asymmetric asset, non-correlated to a lot of things, and it was correlated a little bit to stocks and gold, but recently we saw gold really falling and Bitcoin skyrocketing. So, Bitcoin is starting to sort of mature into its own asset as time goes by. And also, just talking about Bitcoin's sort of cyclical perspective based on what it's been doing, looking at 2017 and what happened before the halving, they're saying that this looks like Bitcoin is following in the traditional, halving leading into the crazy parabolic run. Plan B is one of those analysts that also thinks we're going to have, now his model is $288,000 Bitcoin by the next top. And he went on to say, people ask me where all the money needed for the 1 trillion Bitcoin market value would come from, 1 trillion cap, not Bitcoin individually. He says, my answer is silver, gold, countries with negative interest rates, Europe, Japan, US, countries with predatory governments, Venezuela, China, Iran, Turkey, billionaires and millionaires hedging against quantitative easing, and institutional investors discovering the best performing asset of the last 10 years. And if you don't think that Bitcoin could actually go to some of these levels, you may not necessarily understand exactly how much money there is out there. Like, I know the idea of one Bitcoin being worth like 300 or 500, or what about one Bitcoin being worth $1 million? That seems like it's something that could never happen. There's no way that Bitcoin could get to that level, but you have to consider how much money there is in the world, how much money is actually being printed every single day. The fact that just goods and services and basically everything is going down in value because of all the money. Think about it, right? The same gallon of milk that your grandparents were buying from the store back in the day that we're buying now, right? They used to get it for, a few, like 25, 50 cents, right? We're paying almost $3 for it. Did that gallon of milk actually get more valuable? Are there less cows than there were? Is there something special about that milk? No, it's the same amount of milk. It's the same volume. It's the same quality. So what is different about it? Well, what's different about it is that the value of the purchasing power of the dollar, the value of the dollar, is not worth what it was when your grandparents were buying that same gallon of milk. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? So having a look at all the money in the world, this is an article from Market Watch. You can see, look at cryptocurrency. This represents cryptocurrency right here. Now, this is a little bit outdated. Crypto has grown a little since then, but take it with a grain of salt. Essentially, look at this. These are the biggest companies in the world. You have Berkshire Hathaway, Microsoft, Alphabet, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. Here's the 50 richest people in the world. California's GDP, Fed's balance sheet. Here's currency. Here's gold right here. Okay, so that just goes to show you how many more times Bitcoin could, literally increase before even matching gold. Then you have the stock markets, okay? Here's the global money supply, narrow money, broad money, global debt. Here's where things get interesting. 70 trillion, 33%. Scrolling down here, you have global real estate. My goodness, derivatives. This is a crazy part right here. Insane. And yeah, guys, so this is essentially all the money in the world. Oh, and just to remind you, scrolling down here, yep, this right here, that right there is Bitcoin. So yeah, I think that Bitcoin could have a lot of money to potentially absorb. And when you think about these crazy numbers about Bitcoin hitting $1 million, Bitcoin hitting $5 million per coin, it sounds crazy now. But consider all this money and all the money that is continuously getting printed every single day. So that is the Bitcoin spiel for the day. I do want to talk about some altcoin news. Big news, actually. I thought this was awesome from LTO Network. They say the Dutch government imported over 857 million euros worth of masks in 2020. We have partnered up with NEN and VIDT Datalink to authenticate and verify the masks with our smart QR code, similar to the certificate use case. They're saying similar to certificate use case, which will launch next week. So this is pretty awesome news, guys. Like I said, it's really awesome to see actual, real products out there from these, different crypto projects that we've seen over the past few years. There's definitely been a lot of failures, so it is nice to see projects like this actually making a difference out there in the world. And one project that I'm actually pretty excited about is Terra Virtua, because as you guys know, I am huge on NFTs. Now, I did mention them in yesterday's video, and literally after I put the video out, I see this update that they're actually partnering now with Matic. So they're essentially going to be the world's first full immersive interactive online PC and mobile collectibles platform. And according to the CEO, Gary Bracey, he says it's no secret that our vision at Terra Virtua is to bring digital collectibles to the mainstream, but this can only happen with a user experience that is no different from how you shop online for physical goods. And yes, we do have ETH 2.0 upgrade, and things are getting better. Gas fees have gone down, but when you're talking about scalability, we do know that Matic Network has essentially already solved that problem, right? You had Sandeep Nailwal, the co-founder, saying Terra Virtua has built an immersed collectible platform that will now be supercharged with low fees and high-speed transactions. What sets Terra Virtua apart is their strong focus on user adoption and a host of top-tier partners, and we're excited to welcome them on board. So with Matic, this should for the most part, be like real-time transactions. I mean, Matic is a very good scalable solution for Ethereum, and I would assume that partnering them together would give that real-world sort of what we're already used to, instant transaction vibes going on, buying, selling. So definitely excited about this, guys. Also, we do have two things in the crypto space. So you have Square announcing a major push to go carbon neutral by 2030. So this is pretty cool. As a part of the initiative, Square will be dedicating $10 million to its Bitcoin Clean Energy Investment Initiative, which aims to support companies that help drive adoption and efficiency of renewables within the Bitcoin ecosystem. So they say, we believe that cryptocurrency will eventually be powered completely by clean power, eliminating its carbon footprint and driving adoption of renewables globally. And also, just a little bit of news, SBI Holdings, through its subsidiary, SBI Digital Assets Holdings, has inked a deal with Switzerland's SIX Digital Exchange to offer digital asset services for institutional investors in Singapore. Now, before you get too excited, the new entity is set to go live in 2022. However, this is still a step in the right direction. So that being said, that is it for me today. Let me know, are you bearish? Are you bullish? Do you think it's time for Bitcoin to cool off? Do we need to go down to some of these lower levels? Are you worried about the potential release, the cracking of 150,000 Bitcoin on to the exchanges, right? If these Mt. Gox investors actually get some of their money back. Let me know what you guys think. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Until next time, my name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Stay crypto. And of course, peace out.